here in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak, the new representative from MVP, trying to take things back after an 0-3 start. One of the best players in the world, and our red Zerg player here, it is DongRaeGu. And his opponent in the lower left-hand corner from LG-IM, winning the first 3 games in a row, our Teal Protoss player, SEED.
Yep, and if we look at DRG's ID in Korean, it actually says DongRaeGu Pro S, which actually indicates that he was part of the Pro S clan before he joined MVP. And yeah, there's been a couple good players to come out of that clan. I'm trying to remember who else was in there. I want to say actually Slayer's Alicia used to be in that clan too, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that one. But I know there's been other notable players to come out of the Pro S house as well. If you guys aren't familiar with it, Pro S is a clan in Korea that's sort of like a it's a pro house, but the people who practiced there had to pay to live there, and they would have in-house tournaments, and the better you did, the less you had to pay. So it was kind of a place for players to go to, you know, live inexpensively but still get a good pro training house experience too. So kind of a cool situation.
Yeah, very cool.
But yeah, DRG was in there at one point.
We always saw, was it Because of You Pro S, I think, was another one of the, I forget who uses that, but it's a pretty prominent pro player, and we always see it pop up in a lot of our tournaments.
Yeah, you see their IDs
like that,
every once in a while, yeah.
And no real surprise, gas first for DongRaeGu, of course. So this is a very, very good map for the 3-base gasless style. So. Yeah. We'll see what SEED wants to do. It looks like he's actually saving up for a quick Nexus, 15 Nexus, as a matter of fact. You'll see a lot of players go after a 17 Nexus. Hits it a little more natural timing this way. You have to cut a couple of probes, but oh, it's actually, he's going to go for a 16 Nexus. Kind of weird there. But no real surprise, as this is a very good map to pull this off on, and then just drop down Forge afterwards.
I think what happened there is that he sent the probe down just a couple seconds too late, so he had enough to get that probe started before he threw down the Nexus.
Yeah.
So pretty normal stuff here. DRG will scout it right away with that Overlord, now that they are a little bit quicker than they used to be here, but no sort of early pool or anything from our Zerg players, so SEED won't have a whole lot to worry about, and we should progress into a pretty normal opening here. DRG getting his hatchery down without issue, and we'll have to see how fast he wants to take his third.
That is, that's right. So it looks like SEED going to get over to his opponent's base here pretty soon. Already going ahead and walling this off pretty considerably back at home, and they'll have enough for that photon cannon right away. There's 150. There's photon cannon.
Yep. That's right. A couple Zerglings out now for DRG, chasing that probe away. The probe is going to immediately make a beeline for that third base, except for now he's going to turn around and go the other direction. But most Protoss do like to send their probes down there to maybe put down a pylon to block things a little bit. But once the Zerglings are out, there's not as big of a reason to do them anymore, since it does go down so fast anyway.
Looks like he wants to try and save that probe, which he will be able to do. He can recover shields ever so slightly here once he gets in a straight line from these Zerglings. So he'll be able to get that back home. Photon cannon is up now. And SEED actually sending another probe off to the left-hand side around the back of the Zerglings.
Yeah, I want to make mention of what DRG is doing in the main base of SEED right now. He's sending his Overlord in the main base, sending his Overlord in right away, just to kind of check those gases too. He has plenty of time to get that Overlord out if he wants to, and I actually really like that. You don't see a lot of Zerg players do that, send one into the main right away. But, you know, it's a good way to check to just make sure you're not being cheesed or anything like that. Even though the Nexus did go down, you want to make sure there's nothing kind of ultra weird going on. So, yep, just checks it out, and he's got plenty of time to get that Overlord out so that he can send it back in again later to really see what's going on.
And looks like he went after a 4-minute, 20-second hatchery as well, which is picked up on by SEED, so he has a good idea of what his opponent is up to. And, of course, it is that 3-base no-gas style. So we'll see how SEED wants to try and put on some pressure. Pretty early +1 coming up. This is a map that's a little bit easier to do a big 2-base all-in, more so than go up to a 3rd base. We see some of the maps like Metropolis or Ohana, where it's very, very easy, even in Tomb Valley, to take 3 bases just by full walling off certain parts of the map. On this base, though, a lot harder to do that. There's a ton of open space, so you'll see a lot of players opt for a very strong 2-base play.
Yeah, and again, you know, like I was saying, Protoss has the strongest 2-base play in StarCraft 2. No other race can touch them as far as just sheer strength of the all-ins that they can do off of only 2 bases. So we'll have to see. I mean, there's +1 on the way. There's robotics as well. So yeah, it could always be something like the 3 Immortal push that we do see from time to time, which seems to still have a very high win rate, even though it has been around for quite a while. But, you know, he could just as easily throw down some gateways and just kind of expand safely with this type of thing, too. It all depends on the player really more than anything. And the way SEED's been playing, wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go for a 3rd in this game.
This is very textbook 3 hatch, no gas out of DongRaeGu as well.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 gas went down when he was on 42 drones. Decides to go over to his Roach Warren. We'll see Evolution Chamber and Lair Tech here very, very soon. And everything's looking pretty normal from him. Creep Spread looks good. Everything is as it should be.
Yep. That's right. Ooh, a Warp Prism from SEED. Oh, okay. So, yeah, this may not go beyond 2 bases. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how much damage he's able to do with this, basically. He's going to probably try to warp things in the main force field off the ramp. We've seen SEED do this type of thing before in the Zerg vs. Protoss, and getting that Twilight Council, too. Okay, so, yeah, kind of thinking about a longer game, but if he can do enough damage with this Warp Prism, he may not even need it. We'll see.
And there indeed we do have the Lair Tech and Evolution Chamber and Macro Hatch coming up for DongRaeGu. And of course, wow, 82 supply at the 8-minute mark. That's insane.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to max out very quickly if he wants to go down that route. Some players have been going a little bit more defensive, going up to Infestors a bit earlier on. But DongRaeGu starting to power ahead with those defensive Roaches for now.
Yep, it's a good timing too. There's going to be some Zealots coming out right now, and it will be 5 gates worth of pressure, with +2 on the way, so he can follow this up with a blink timing if he chooses. Just using that Warp Prism now for warping in, bringing in some Zealots and the sentries that were traveling inside of it. And is DRG prepared for that? That's the question.
Ooh, a couple of good force fields. And so the Roaches are going to have to walk around the side there, and looks like Siege is going to make a beeline for this hatchery, going right after it, down to 300 hit points and falling, and it does fall.
Oh, DRG not quite prepared for this +1 attack from SEED. And he could be in some serious trouble here. I mean, even though he might be able to hold this off, it looks like he will be able to. He just lost his 3rd base. That's really, really going to set him far behind. He's going to have to follow this up. Well, he's going to try to retake his 3rd, but that's a tough spot to be in as Zerg. You really, really want to have the mining off of 3 bases to go into a safer mid-game.
One kind of cool thing for DongRaeGu is that he had 4 Roaches that got super low in health and actually kept every one of those alive, so they will be able to recover their life up slowly but surely. SEED actually going to have to get out of there with those sentries. Wasn't able to block off the ramp.
SEED putting down 3 more gateways back home, going up to 7, no, 8 gates total. He's going to have Immortals. He's going to have +2. He's going to have Blink. Yeah, I don't think he's going to ever need to take a 3rd if he doesn't want to. He's going to have such a strong army, continuing to harass with that Warp Prism, and he is just really put DRG off his game here. I mean, we see DRG double expanding out of this, throwing down that infestation bit, and I love that. That force field is so cool. Even though he didn't kill any of those drones, he actually cost DRG a lot by losing the mining time. It's almost like the New Age pylon block at the mineral line that you would see in Brood War and once in a while in StarCraft 2 as well.
Well, DongRaeGu now with a fair amount of Zerglings heading across the map, and as we can see, his Roach count starting to go up. In fact, it looks like he's going for a very, very high Roach count earlier on. He is starting to work off of these hatcheries once again. His 4th just about to pop up as well. Pathogen Glands is well on the way, though, so we can move up to those Infestors that we were talking about before while still putting on pressure. So despite losing that base, his macro is still very impressive.
Yeah, a lot depends on this potential attack from DRG, though. If he's not really able to do damage with this, then that's going to just mean that he didn't have, that many larvae, that he's not going to be able to use that 4th base, that he took that quickly as soon as he would like to otherwise. And it doesn't look like he's going to attack. Yeah, just kind of poking the front, sees that he's not going to be able to do damage at the natural, and he's going to check the 3rd soon, too, and see that there's still not a Nexus there. So DRG, I feel like he's going to be kind of forced to play the waiting game here, but I don't know if SEED wants to wait.
No, not at all. He's going to start pushing out here, but DRG already has those Infestors finished up. They're actually sitting back at home and just waiting, and he's got good upgrades on the way, so I don't entirely dislike DRG's position, I have to say. Losing a couple of Roaches there, and this is still going to be pretty testy for a little while, but DongRaeGu's been playing this, despite the fact that he lost that base, pretty well. The macro really shining for him.
Yeah, we'll see if he can really make it work. I mean, the big issue here is that he hasn't really been able to kill a lot of the sentries of SEED, and SEED isn't terribly sentry heavy to begin with, but just having those sentries just kind of sitting there, building energy is really, really going to make it great for him to attack with later on in the game. He's going to be able to put out a lot of force fields, even though he has, he doesn't have like 6 or 7. Here we go, nice fungal on some of those units, actually getting a ton of the sentries. Wow.
Yeah, that worked out really well for him. He killed oh, okay, I'm sorry. There's one more sentry at the back, but there were 5 initially, so he killed 4 of them right away. And it is 190 supply to 126 at the moment. This is still a very, very strong frontline engagement force, but without the force fields now to be able to drive off those units, it's going to be so much more difficult to try and break DongRaeGu here.
Yeah, that was just key right there as well. Force fielding, or rather fungling a few more units there. Doesn't quite catch a lot, but suddenly this game has, you know, it isn't quite as scary as it was, you know, for DRG. It's still going to be tough, but we'll see what happens.
All right, well, 3 Immortals, decent number of Blink Stalkers as well with +2. Oh, and there finally a few more sentries dropping in. That is certainly going to help, but the force fields weren't the best. Most of the Roaches just able to kind of move up and hug anyway, so SEED is going to do some damage, but he loses all of his Immortals in the process. More units are kind of shot down as well. This attack just has not gone that well for SEED.
Yeah, it's going to be the Blink Stalkers that DRG is really going to need to worry about. Look at that micro from SEED, trying to get as many back as he can. The Fungals trapping some of them, and DRG is continuing to be able to whittle down this force. More reinforcements coming in, but I don't know. Pretty tense game right now.
It is pretty tense, and it's 21 Blink Stalkers, so I mean that's still a fair amount of forces to go around, but more Fungals will start to pin things down a little bit. Drones pulled off the line, but not a lot have died yet. There, finally, they are starting to take some damage, but the Blink Stalker count is continuing to be whittled down. Zergling's even coming in from the back as well as Fungal Growth's pinned down everything at the front, so it's 122 supply to 76 now, and SEED's attack looks like it's been repelled. He did manage to kill 11 workers there, but he's still down by 12 altogether, and of course, was going very all in off of 2 bases, so no third Nexus in sight.
Yeah, that was close. I mean, I think a lot of it goes back to that key fungal that DRG got that trapped a lot of those sentries early on, because the real strength of this type of push, of course, you know, the Immortals and Stalkers help, but to be able to force field the army, reduce the amount of Roaches that are hitting you at one time really is what makes it strong, and SEED just can't do that right now. He's only on 2 bases. He doesn't have the ability to make what he needs to make this push succeed at this time. And DRG, he knows it. He doesn't need to really be aggressive with this at all. He just needs to kind of build up another force, make sure he's maxed out, and go for it.
Well, he is doing a good job of keeping SEED kind of pinned off to the side. Looks like he's going to go back and play defensive a bit now. But as we can see, 27 Roaches, 25 Lings, 4 Infestors, actually 35 Lings now, with another 14 Infestors and 16 Lings popping out right now. He's maxed again. Yeah,
this army is continuing to get scarier and scarier. What are the upgrades right now? I think it is 1-1 for the bio, right? Or not for the bio, it's all bio. 1-1 for the Zerglings and +2 for the missile attacks.
Yeah.
And here comes DRG. The Zerglings able to get right in on those Stalkers because there are no sentries, but there are still a good amount of Zealots out for SEED too. So DRG can't just attack this head on, but here we go, finding a good opportunity now.
Yeah, it looks like most of those Zealots have actually fallen already. Just one more remaining, and it's going to die. Just Blink Stalkers now, and they are a little bit more fragile. Fungal Growth pinning a lot of them down, and the Stalker count is just being devastated. 100 supply advantage for DongRaeGu, and it looks like he has a chance to breathe some life back into MVP's chances.
I think so. I mean, he's not only going to like breathe some life into him, it's like they hooked up the defibrillator to him or something. He's like shocked him, and suddenly IM's not looking too strong here.
Well, DongRaeGu, man, he's I mean, we talk about players that have the ability to bring things back, win multiple games in a row.
Yeah.
DongRaeGu has the potential to just outright win the series. So,
well, he's potentially the best Team League player in StarCraft 2 history. I don't know if anyone else out there has as good of a record and as many wins as DongRaeGu has in team events in StarCraft 2. So he's scary. I mean, if anyone can come back and do this, it's him, and it looks like he's going to right now. Over 100 supply ahead. Not a lot that SEED can do against this force.
No, just not at all. DongRaeGu can even waste a couple of Roaches here just to batter down these walls a little bit more quickly, and it looks like that's just what he's going to do.
Oh, the sentry's got fungal again.
Yeah, and unfortunately they are very low in health. Oh, he actually hits him once more. 3 sentries disappearing there. Good use of energy.
Yep, and I think soon the game's going to disappear because DRG, again, over 100 supply ahead, like we mentioned earlier. He's got the Spire on the way. His macro has not been slowed down at all in the last 5 minutes or so, and he can just go ahead and push right in here. The attrition might be higher than normal, but doesn't matter, man. This is a swarm right here.
Yes, it is. The last zealot's disappearing once again. The Stalkers being fungled down. Nothing really to defend these probes now. And Economy is going to start getting rocked here by DongRaeGu. More than 100 supply ahead, continuing to increase. Now the probes are going to start falling. The last couple of Stalkers just trying to hang on. Probes are pulled off of the line, but the Zerglings just continue to make their way through as well. Getting a little bit hung up there, but now finally going to be able to attack. There's GG, and MVP finally takes their first game of the set. DongRaeGu, the victor of this game.
Yep, IGNProLeague's reign of terror is over, but